Welcome back to Nerd News Today. I'm Matthew, and in this episode we're taking a look at some more Dragon Ball Super figures from Bandai, and this one here is a really epic one here. This is a Target exclusive 2-pack from their Dragon Star series of Janemba vs. Super Saiyan Gogeta. Now this represents, I believe it was the 12th Dragon Ball movie. There's a lot of movies. Pretty sure this is from one of the Dragon Ball movies, and Janemba is like, man, he's one of the most evil characters in all of DBZ. Janemba might be most infamously known for, besides his epic fights, with being part of the Dragon Ball movie that has Adolf Hitler in it. That's like a whole weird story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe watch the movie. But yeah, this is a 2-pack here from the Dragon Star series. So let's go ahead and get on into things and first talk about this packaging. So the packaging is pretty much like any of the Dragon Star series figures we've seen, really anything that Bandai has done with their articulated action figures. Very simple packaging, big wide window to let you see right on in there and take a look at every single little detail and every accessory these toys come with. And this particular 2-pack has a lot of accessories. You guys can see already a ton of hands. We had a sword, we have an energy effect, so there's a lot going on in here from the kickoff. As for the box itself, very simple, just basically a long rectangle. We have the same look on all the Dragon Stars figures, which is this nice kind of cracked impact looking packaging on the black simple colors here. Again, shiny Dragon Stars logo. On each side we have a character from it, so on this side Janemba, on the other side we got ourselves Gogeta. And the back of the box is a little bit different from some of the other figures we've actually been looking at in the Dragon Ball line. It's an illustration, and what a nice illustration it is. So we actually get a look at these characters in combat. This is how they would look in the film, it's how they would look in the anime. It's pretty much how they look drawn. So that's kind of cool. I really actually like that a lot. It adds a lot to the packaging. It's very different, helps to separate it. And yeah, I'm totally into this. I mean, just look at this art. This is really beautiful art, you guys. Like, it's almost worth just cutting this out and keeping this part itself. But we're not going to do that because we're going to get this out of the packaging. And of course, as we always do, we're going to take a closer look at these figures from all angles. All right, let's take a better look now at our Janemba and our Super Saiyan Gogeta. Oh, yeah, no, these look good. As always, I have nothing bad to say right from the get-go, and I get a feeling it's going to be another one of those very positive reviews. And man, it feels good to do those sometimes, you know, just not to nitpick over little annoying things. But yeah, all right, let's take a close look at these figures here. So let's talk about likenesses, as we always do first, and likenesses look great. I mean, you know, Dragon Ball figures are very easy to screw up, I will say. You know, they're very simple, but if you don't do them right, they're going to look hideous. And Bandai's been doing this long enough, they know how to get these likenesses down. They do a great job of it every single time. Looks exactly like them. You know, there's not really any crazy cartoon details I can talk about because they're cartoons. There's nothing really hyper-realistic about them or any real crazy accurate things they need to get, but the information they got correct. And that's really what matters most here. Paint job is also very clean on their faces too. There's not a lot of paint, but what's there is clean. That's a good thing too. Let's take a look at the back of Janemba's head there. It's actually really cool. You can see a little preview of what's behind him too. Of course, we got to talk about that hair as always, and that Gogeta hair. That's some hair. It looks just as good as any other figure that we've seen in the lineup so far. Yeah, no, it's really cool. The main difference here is, in this case, we have this halo effect, which, if you're wondering, does come out. So if you don't want your Gogeta to be dead or have a halo, you don't have to. You can just go ahead and swap it out. But I'm going to leave it on for the sake of this review, at least for as long as it can until it falls out. But all things considered, it's actually in there quite tightly. So I don't think you have to worry about it really falling out at all. Like, they've engineered this thing to stay in place. So yeah, no concerns there whatsoever about that. So yeah, great facial expressions too on both these guys. I mean, this is their faces in combat here, and it looks like they're fighting. Colors are very nice. They really pop. They're very vibrant, as you'd want them to be. You know, looking at these guys, you know, you got this great purple, red, radiant colors. And then the orange and black just looks so good. I mean, that just is hats off really to the designers, whoever designed these characters in the Dragon Ball world. I don't know if this was Akira or Toriyama or not, but whoever designed them, you know, they know what they're doing. Looks good. Just great, simple colors that really pop and shine and look wonderful next to each other. So let's talk articulation here, because that's going to be a big thing. And you know, as we've really seen in the other videos, shoulder pads are really nothing to worry about because some of these characters have them, and Bandai has figured out how to make them move and not get in the way of your articulation. So let's start here with our Gogeta, and you guys can already see from earlier, the heads, they're ball jointed, and likewise for both of them. Not really any hindrances on Gogeta, just that he has a lot of hair. Some of it might get in the way of the shoulder pads, but no, actually looks like it doesn't. So you're not losing any articulation there because of his giant hair. Janemba, totally fine. He can move around as much as he pleases. Nice, good joints there. Shoulders, no problems at all with Janemba. Look at that uppercut. Yeah, wow. I was actually worried about those shoulder pads in particular, but that looks good. Can our Gogeta do the same? Yeah, more or less. I mean, unfortunately, looks like this piece does not move. I was hoping it might have, but it doesn't. Some of their figures had shoulder pads. They are movable. These are not, so you can't get the arms straight up. It is going to be a little bit out to the side, but still does the job. And that's fine here, so we can have him kind of hulk up a little bit here. You guys can see better. So we have a double jointed elbow right here. We have a bicep swivel also with that ball jointed shoulder, and our wrists can bend and flex. So no hindrances of movement there whatsoever. Just the one thing on Gogeta is that shoulder, as we already talked about. Now let's see if the waists can move. All right, Gogeta, good waist movement there. Pretty solid. Janemba, he's got a really weird body. So let's see how this is gonna work here. So he basically has like the almost McFarlane torso going on. That's how he's gonna move. No waist joint here, that doesn't move. It's just basically a piece glued into the crotch piece. But okay, still has some decent articulation. The waists don't really move a lot, I've noticed, on these Dragon Ball figures, but it's giving you enough of what you need to get the job done. And to be quite fair to the way you're gonna pose these, you know, as much as I would like it to be a better unhindered articulated joint, it moves just enough for what you're gonna do with them. Now, legs are interesting here. Janemba, you can see, actually has the same thing. I'm gonna do this here. So yeah, I just learned this. These figures here with the puffy pants, you can actually essentially put them into themselves. Let me move them over a little bit just so you can see it better. But yeah, and currently Janemba is leaning because I just don't have his feet in a proper position. But there, it's a little bit better. So yeah, you can actually push their pants up into their crotch pieces. That's a horrible sentence, but it's the truth. And that's how you're gonna kind of hide the joint a little bit. But when you're actually ready for them to fight, all you gotta do is just, you can see right there what I did, you just pop the legs out and now they get their full articulation the way you want it to move around. And they both have excellent articulation. I mean, it definitely looks better to have the joints in there, but when you're ready to actually do stuff with them, yeah, that's what you're gonna do. So both characters have that thing there to do that, help tighten the joints. And you can also see Janemba and our Gogeta also have double jointed knees, as well as articulated feet. So yeah, no real issues with that articulation from either of these guys. The one thing worth mentioning with Gogeta though is because he has, again, the puffy pants, you know, does kind of change up a little bit of the articulation, not by much. It is just a much more noticeable joint because of how it is, but otherwise it's fine. And you know, in terms of articulation, it's looking quite good. There's really no complaints here about it, other than really the waist joint, and that's kind of a personal preference, I feel like. Like I said, I'm okay with it, but if you guys don't like it, I'd like to hear your thoughts. So don't forget to let me know in the comments what you feel about the articulation, because I think for fighty figures, they need to be able to move well, and these do move well. Could they move better? Maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna say for the price point, very, very solid. Now, in terms of accessories, these guys have a ton of accessories. Janemba comes with 4 different hands, and Gogeta has 4 different hands. So we have essentially 10 hands total across these 2 figures. And in addition to the hands, we also get some other unique accessories for these characters. Janemba gets the sword that you saw him packaged with earlier. Let's get that into his hand right now to show you how that looks. There we go. It's a nice looking sword. And our Gogeta, he already has one of the hands on him, so I'm going to leave that as is for this particular accessory here. But we get this little power-up effect right here. So you'll notice he has a hole in his hand. That hole in the hand would be for using power-up effects, which don't really have any of at the moment. But according to the packaging, he's supposed to be able to actually balance this in his hand. So it might be that you just, yeah, he's one of those points in there and kind of rest it in there, because there's not like anything otherwise to put it on his hand. So I think you just got to do some work and you'll find a way to get it into place. I'm not going to fight too hard with this, but there you guys go. So you can get a little bit of a power effect. That's nice, because the power-ups are a completely different toy, which we'll talk about in another thing. But yeah, it comes with some nice accessories, so it's pretty good looking. Now let's just do some size comparisons also, and I happen to have our Vegeta from earlier, as well as our Nappa, so we'll put them side by side. Looking mighty fine here. Yeah, that's how they're going to stand up next to these guys. I'm going to bring in a Mattel WWE Basic Samoa Joe figure, and I've got a G.I. Joe Classified Cobra Bat Trooper. So again, pretty much these 6-inch figures are in scale with each other. They might not be identical perfect scales of how characters should actually be sized, but they are at least in the same general area. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I haven't actually talked about that yet, that's because I'm kind of counting it as an accessory, even though it's not, but Janemba does have a fully articulated tail, not just that it can go up and down, left to right, but this piece here also actually moves around. So that's really cool. Glad they added that. They really had to add it. I mean, you know, we saw with the Vegeta and Nappa, they just had their tails kind of attached to their waists, but no, Janemba has a fully articulated tail, so that really adds to this figure. So that's our look at this Janemba and Super Saiyan Gogeta Target exclusive Dragon Stars 2-pack. Really great bang for your buck here. I mean, you're getting a ton of hands, you're getting a separate weapon for Janemba, you're getting a little tiny power-up effect, not great, but it's a little tiny power-up effect for him. The upside is you're getting a bunch of hands for both of them, and in particular with Gogeta. Now, I know I didn't swap them out, but I've done on all the other videos here, so if you want to take a look at that, you can. Hand swap out very easily. But what you do get is hands that, as you can see, have a little hole in them. And that hand is going to give you a great amount of flexibility, because if you have any other figures that have the power beam effects, boom, swap it in there, you're good to go. Unfortunately, the only power-up effects I have don't really fit his hand. I don't really have any beams that are shooting out that have the connector. The only thing I really have is this here from another power pack. So I'm just going to put it behind him just for the sake of having it there. So just a reminder, this does not come with him. So what you're looking at right now is the Dragon Stars power-up pack, Super Saiyan Vegito base that he comes with. But hey, it looks really cool here, so I'm just going to throw it in here. And basically that's my way of telling you guys to go ahead and check out that video as well. And yeah, really worth having. But final thoughts on these guys here. They're just as good as really any of the other Dragon Ball figures we've looked at. I rarely have complaints about them, and in this case, yeah, I still don't really have anything bad to say about either of these guys here. It would have been cooler if he actually did come with a proper power-up beam to shoot out of his hand. Surprised they didn't. You know, again, all we really got was this little guy here. It's cute, but you know, for including this hand, why not give us a little bit of a beam or something? But Janemba is pretty great. I mean, it's a weird looking character, but it's nice that we have him, and I think this 2-pack is the best way to put him in there. It kind of makes it a very crucial 2-pack to get if you want to get these particular characters. For my money, I think that they're worth it, and I think you're going to like them too. And speaking of, if you like what you see right now, go ahead and check out my Amazon affiliate links in the description below, and you'll find ways to buy these figures as well as some other Dragon Ball toys from Bandai. If you use those links, that helps support this YouTube channel at no extra cost to you. So overall, very happy with these toys, as I have been with everything Bandai has done in the Dragon Ball universe. You're going to like these a lot too. So on that note, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Stick around because we've got some more Dragon Ball videos coming up very soon. So see you next time. And Kamehame, smell you later? I don't know. I'm going to go with that this time around. See you guys next time.